From Rich Alvarez in Northern California, this is Video Game Fights. And now your host, Rich Alvarez.
Hello and welcome to Video Game Fights. I'm Rich Alvarez and we have a very special episode today. It is Fan Fights. We have 3 special fans that came from all over the world to come and visit us here so that they could be a part of this video game fight and also to hang out with us and go to Zach Anime. So we're going to go down the line. Tell me your name and where you came from.
Hi, I'm DeKaland, also known as Scott, from Winnipeg, Manitoba. You might know me from the Complaint Department.
Oh! Keep going.
Hi, I'm Holly. I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba as well. I am Scott's fiance, and I think that was about all we needed. Yep.
Lastly,
Hi, I am Cody Sam. I am from Arizona. You may know me as Squiggles as well from the Discord and many other places. And I do a lot of YouTubers, community management, and editing.
Cool. Well, this is a Rich Alvarez fan fight, and I love these guys dearly. And because they've been fans of the YouTube channel for a long time, I thought I would stick to, Nintendo-based questions, so that's kind of where we're at right now. And we're going to go, and you guys know the rules. You have a minute and a half each round to explain your answer, and then you will get a free-for-all argument where you guys just kind of debate on who's the best. We will then move on to a speed round where you will have, we'll be down to 2 people. You'll get 20 seconds with a 10-second rebuttal until it gets down to 1 person. All right, are you guys ready to play video game fights?
Yeah!
Awesome. So question number 1. Round 1. Best multiplayer game. And I thought that was kind of Nintendo since they all do multiplayer, but I think you guys might not have necessarily all picked Nintendo games. Fine. Question goes to Scott, a.k.a. DeKaland first. So, Scott, as soon as I get the timer up here, you have a minute and a half. What is the best multiplayer game? Go!
I would have to say Castlevania Harmony of Despair for PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360. The reason why is because you can have up to 4 players offline and up to 6 players online from various characters ranging from all the series, minus the Lords of Shadow platforms. However, you got a lot of teamwork that you need to do to get puzzles solved in various levels, and it's just, you're always there to help each other out. It's almost similar to those Mario games that you can get with those 4 or 5 people in that.
Yeah. And it was Castlevania what?
Harmony of Despair.
Harmony of Despair. All right. Is that all the time you need?
It's all the time I need.
Excellent. Then we'll move on to Holly. You have a minute and a half that starts now.
Super Smash Brothers, I'm choosing Brawl because I'm the most familiar with it. Now, character variety in that one is fantastic. It's the first time they used third-party characters. You get more, the fact that you can easily, with any of the games, grab the controller and go. The fact that it was the first one that had the rotation turning, I believe. It had the stickers, which enabled you to get further character customization. Wi-Fi, admittedly. It was, I think, their first adventure into it, so might have been a little patchy, but hey, they gotta start somewhere, and I think that is time for me. That's enough for me.
Oh, wow, okay. Moving right along. Let's get to Cody. Let's see.
Mine may be a little longer.
In your opinion, what is the best multiplayer game? Go.
Best multiplayer game, Star Wars Battlefront 2 from 2005. No, not the new one that's coming out soon. So this one, you can play up to 4 players local, and online on PC at least, you can play up to 64 players on their things, and it is still going to this day. 12 years. It was shut down from GameSpy a few years ago, but another company did pick it back up. Anyway, you get to play. It's a sequel from Battlefront. You guys all know you get to be a stormtrooper. You get to be any of the fighters from Clone Wars, etc. And you're on this all-out battle. The Republic versus the Sith. It's the Star Wars dream of a lifetime, and there's the non-playable characters or the specials where you get the lightsabers. Mace Windu, Yoda, Count Dooku, Darth Vader, all of them get together and you get to fight in this all-out war in many different planets. Tatooine, Hoth, pretty much anywhere in the Star Wars movie universe.
Excellent. And it sure beats the pants off of 2015's Battlefront. But Battlefront, the new Battlefront 2 coming out soon, does look awesome. All right, guys. Free for all!
All right. So first off, I'll go first.
No. There's no going first. You're arguing.
arguing.
Brawl. With Brawl, there are very big issues with it. A lot of people did criticize it for its physics and slow-based gameplay.
That said, you can adjust the gravity in one of the settings.
Yes, but that does not make a game for official. Holly.
The biggest problem that I have with Battlefront 2 was it's very clunky on the engine for PS2. There was a lot of graphical issues, and some of the combat systems was very, very chunky compared to a lot of the other Star Wars fighting games.
Yes, but it was also from 2005, and it is still played to this day
That's
by a
fine.
bunch of people.
But
Castlevania, it's downloadable only, and it does frustrate very much people because it lacks the game of bringing backstory or any idea of what these characters are to new players, and makes it very confusing and very much so for them to maybe rage the game. It's a great game for diehard fans, but not necessarily the general public. to start
however,
off
as
on
a general public, it's a gothic horror setting that doesn't require a story, but just one of those pick a character and dive into a setting where you're trying to defeat the big baddie.
But isn't it to where Castlevania is more of a story-driven game, to where it's supposed to be that Metroidvania?
See, that's the thing, though, about Castlevania that a lot of people fail to realize. It's just side-scrolling gothic horror. A guy has a whip or a sword and goes and kills the main vampire. That's all it's been ever since.
Want to get back to Brawl as well. The gameplay and the physics is much slower. You may be able to change it, but that's not how tournaments work. Those
No,
are for fun
but
games.
this is multiplayer in general. It is not, hey, this is a party, we're drunk. Hey, let's play a game.
But for a
That's
fighting
what I
game,
mean.
it's not supposed to be slower. It's supposed to be faster. I do agree that the modding of Brawl,
I didn't
also
even
known
bring
as
that up.
Project M,
I heard about that, yes.
was a great rendition of it to make it feel more like Melee. To me, the game of Brawl is way too slow-paced for a fighting-based multiplayer game.
My issue with Super Smash Bros. Brawl was the fact that it was only exclusive to one console. It wasn't allowed to various others. It was the same issue with Battlefront, except when it was put on PC.
And it was put on PS4 and Xbox.
However, the problem with the Smash Bros. Brawl, it is a fighting game, so it is not a multiplayer game per se. Fighting games, you can have multiple players in numerous type fighting games. However, multiplayer games are usually co-op aspects.
Not necessarily.
See,
Usually, when it comes to multiplayer games, it's usually when you're doing stuff like Mario Party or board games or even games that involve a team.
Holly, I need to hear a little bit more from you on why your game is better than theirs.
okay. First of all, grab and go, like I said. The variety of characters is available, yes. There's any number of things you can do there, but do they have different abilities? Possibly, but to the point where it's entirely a different universe, bringing in new other characters, even from other franchises, and the addition of, I believe, was it Brawl that had the amiibos come out for it, or am I missed one point?
Those might bring a certain appeal, but how does that make that a better multiplayer game?
It brings it more customizable. That you can bring your character to someone else's party.
That was Smash Bros. 4.
Oh, that was 4?
Alright,
I'm
you
sorry.
guys all gave pretty good answers, but I think the clear winner for me, the one who really sold like why their game was a good multiplayer game, and why it could last the test of time, has to go to Mr. DeKalen Scott. He wins round 1. 1 point for Scott.
Which is funny. That's not a well-known game.
No,
It's not.
but this game is
Take
all
note,
about the
folks.
arguments.
Take note, folks.
Okay.
See, I'm not as biased as you commenters think, because I could have gone with Star Wars, you know?
That was going towards
I
Richie's.
probably would have.
I was going towards their heart there.
Alright, round number 2. We're starting with Holly this time. Alright, pitch an M-rated Super Mario game. That guy.
All right. Dr. Mario Trauma Center. Now, most Trauma Center games don't emphasize the gore, but for the start of it, yeah, you can totally emphasize the gore. Imagine Bowser accidentally goring somebody. Or, say, some horrible Mario Kart accidents. Or any number of the weird shenanigans that go on with any of the villains. So, what you do is the usual trauma. You stitch them all up, get all the gore out of the way, and of course, in between stuff, you can do like the puzzle game things to like earn bonuses, and just plain old. Of course, imagining all the crazy things you could do with the different power-ups. Like, oh god, he needs to live. He's dying. Quick, throw a star at him, stat! Or just plain keep some of the silliness going. Also things like you could probably imagine working with the different, possibly biologies of the things going on here. Things like it can go from Toad to a Koopa, or you have to bust open the shell to... And yeah, and you can also just plain get some story in there by just imagining all those different shenanigans that can go on. To raise the rating, like I said, you could go with the Mortal Kombat levels of accident reenactments and just plain things that could go wrong. Now, I think that's enough.
All right. Now we go to Cody. Pitch an M-rated Mario game.
All right. So we know Honey Pop. We know Daddy Dating Sim. Now we got Mario Dating Simulator. Okay, we got you can date Mario. You can date Luigi, Peach, Peach, Daisy, Wario, Waluigi, Donkey Kong, Pauline, all of the Mario characters out there. It's sort of a game kind of like Honey Pop and whatnot, maybe even an uncensored version for you weirdos out there. But essentially, you can go on a date with Mario. You can go on a date with any of the Mario characters you want. You build relationships, and you get to know more about their personality. You get to know about their backstories before they were in the Mushroom Kingdom. Their childhood, their adulthood, just them as their self, their personalities, everything.
Okay. Lastly, the question goes to Scott. Scott, pitch an M-rated Mario game, would you?
Sure. I'd have to say Grand Theft Princess. Instead of taking the role of Mario, you're playing the role of King Koopa.
Oh.
So think of it like a Grand Theft Auto style game where you're going through the Mushroom Kingdom causing mass hysteria, destroying buildings, destroying toads, all that type of stuff just to kidnap the princess. Take her away and then devise ways of keeping the plumbers away from the castle.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
All right. And then in that case, fight for all. Fight.
So, with yours to
Finish
Caleb,
it.
I don't really see anything with that having to do with Grand Theft Princess. Like, how is that anything?
Well,
Like, I didn't really.
in regards to Grand Theft Auto, where you're trying to do missions and that and gain money and such, you're trying to kidnap the princess to take over the Mushroom Kingdom. So you are trying to rule the Mushroom Kingdom, and as King Koopa, you are doing everything in your power to make it happen.
But like Grand Theft Auto, shouldn't you be able to play like different characters that are wanting to try to take over? You
You
could
could
play
also
Luigi,
play-
Mario, that kind of
You
stuff.
could also play the Koopa Kings, Bowser Jr., any of the bad guys. You're trying to. It's taking the role away from the plumber duo, and putting it in the role of King Koopa. That said, going over to Dr. Mario Trauma,
Yeah, that.
it seems more like a trauma simulator that just doesn't seem that it has enough diversity to what you're doing. Like, yeah, you're sewing up things, but what do you do afterwards? Like,
And also,
what's
it's
the
like
difficulty
not,
level?
it's not like I don't want to play a game to where like you're getting the trauma victims from the battle. I want to be in that gory battle where Bowser's ripping off Mario's head and it's bleeding hysterically. I want to be Bowser, the one gnawing off somebody's head. I want to be in that gory, hardcore action, not the one just stitching up from after the battle. I mean, that doesn't seem like big.
In regards to the Mario dating simulator, to be honest, it seems like it's been done to death with a lot of cases. Dating sims.
But with anime, not Nintendo characters.
The problem is, though, with dating simulators, it's very streamlined. You have very select options in what you can choose.
Not necessarily.
Depending on your answer will determine the outcome of who you're with. That being said, it seems very...
But this is customizable.
One-directional.
You don't have to be with just one person. You can be with all of them if you want. You're a freaking pimp.
Yes, but it's one-directional. the story is set in a certain way, and you get to choose who you
I
want
mean,
to be.
isn't that all stories all linear?
Well,
I mean, it will come out to different endings. There will be different endings to it.
the thing is,
it's
though,
not linear.
I need to hear much more from Holly.
Thing is, no matter what, there is going to be someone who's going to try for each ending and just save reset until they get the same answer. Are you sure there's going to be people looking for all the variety that you could offer rather than just shoot straight for the good endings? For their gratuitous, bizarre porn. And I mean, with Grand Theft Princess, first you got the whole. Okay, you're thinking Grand Theft Auto, so it's like, okay, you're doing these crimes, you're implied crimes. What is there some meter or something to track? Oh God, how much attention are you getting from the Mario Brothers? Oh God, will you even encounter them in game?
yes.
In which case, then.
I mean, it's not about the porn, it's about getting to know the characters better within the dating.
Which is
Getting to know
understandable,
their
but you will always have
personalities.
those fans
Yeah,
that will be
you
like.
will have the porn in it, but
You'll always have those fans
Let's
that are
get
going to
this
go.
straight. Graphic porn, right?
graphic
Not
porn, not actual porn. You sick fucks.
You're always going to get those people that rush straight for it.
Why don't we just say violence? Alright. Alright, I think I've heard enough here. Oh man, this is really tough because I gave Scott the first point, but I feel like Scott did it the best this round too. Garrett, what do you think?
I think it was Holly, hands down. I don't
Holly
think
is
anybody,
definitely
I don't
up
think
there.
anybody came out with a competent response to why Holly's game wasn't good.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah. No,
Nah.
I mean, you kind of did. I mean, you came up with a better one, but I don't think anybody could correctly explain to me very well why Holly's game wasn't fun.
That's true. That's true.
Nobody offered up a point to there.
I think yeah, it was really between Scott and Holly.
Grand Theft Princess was fun but underdeveloped.
I
and
love-
the dating simulator weird thing was a little obscure.
Yeah. I love the idea of a Grand Theft Auto style Mario game, so I think that in my head, I think I built that up. So, I mean, that's why I asked Garrett, because I'm not exactly sure, but, you know what? I'm gonna give Holly the point. Holly gets the point. Holly wins round 2. Okay.
No point for Squiggles.
Not yet, Squiggles.
Not
Don't
for
worry.
you!
And
Alright.
then for Gretchen Wieners.
Round number 3. What is the best Zelda game? And this question is
Here.
going to go
Have an Oreo.
to Cody first.
I'm scared.
They're very good.
They're
very
really
fun.
tasty.
Cody, what is, you have a minute and a half, what's the best Zelda game? Go!
Best Zelda game, Majora's Mask. It's pretty much the direct sequel to Ocarina of Time, set a few months after, to where you're in Termina, you're going into the forest, you fall down by Skull Kid, etc., etc. You probably all have played it. Anyway, it's the best one because, yes, Ocarina of Time was the revolutionary, but this one kind of refined and gave more to that engine and more to the game. You got to wear masks, you got a lot more gameplay, you got the new mechanic of the 3-day time, the 3-day mechanic to where you'd have to play the song over and over. And you had to find the masks, and the masks gave powers to it, and it wasn't necessarily, oh, hey, you're doing basic dungeon puzzles and whatnot. No, you actually had to go, you had to explore, you had to find the masks, do different tasks. It was kind of like the first Zelda that was actually a 3D great masterpiece, in my opinion. Let's see here. I think that's about it.
Alright. I don't know about the first 3D masterpiece of Zelda, but it was pretty good. Alright, the question goes to...
Masterpiece.
It was a masterpiece,
It
but
is
wasn't
pretty
necessarily the first 3D masterpiece. But anyways, there might be one right before that. Alright, Scott, you go next. Minute and a half. Go.
I would have to say Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past for the Super Nintendo. And the reason why behind that, it revolutionized the most of the Legend of Zelda games, from Oracle of Seasons, Link's Awakening, Oracle of Ages, Four Swords, A Link Between Worlds, all the new ones, not minus the three-dimensional ones. To me, it felt like an open world Legend of Zelda where you got two sides of a coin, the light side, the dark side. There was so much you had to do, not just getting the Master Sword and saving the princess, but you had to save all of Hyrule from Ganon. And to me, that felt more accomplishing towards the end when you completed it. You felt satisfied at the end. Especially when the music played during that credits, you just felt very good about what you did.
All right, and lastly, it goes to Holly. Holly, you have a minute and a half. What's the best Zelda game?
Ocarina of Time. I have to be that person. Okay, so first, you get the same thing in all the games. You get relationships with the characters. You get to learn like brief little interactions that do reveal enough character that you get their roles. You get that Impa is the protector. You get that Soraya is your best friend. You get that Ruto is that creepy girl that has a crush on you right away. You get all these things, and then you see through the game a consequence. You lift the sword, suddenly it all goes to crap. You end up in a horribly destroyed Castletown. It's like, what did I just do? You wake up in this and you're like, what? Why? And you then go, you wonder, oh God, what happened to all these people that were here? You get consequence right away. And then as the game goes on, which, yes, it is dungeon crawls, that are very on theme, that you get these bizarre, weird bosses in the sense of corruption that happens. It as a consequence, and then as the game goes on, the end of it, it's the one where the timeline splits off 3 ways. You get consequences no matter what you do. Now I think that should, yep.
You got 5 seconds.
Oh no.
Well, and it's done.
Yeah.
All right. And with that said, go at it, guys.
All right.
Sorry
Okay.
to say this
Okay.
much.
Hold on. I do want to say something to add on. I did forget to say it also has the only storyline from what I know that got very dark and very deep into the lore of Zelda. It was probably the darkest out there. Something Nintendo would ever do.
Okay, well, argument phase.
Okay, first though, it felt extremely repetitive. I admit it did show some character development, but it was only over 3 days when you only get one slice of their life. As the moon is crashing down, where I understand there's darkness, but it's like, it's very right there in your freaking face.
Okay.
My issue with Majora's Mask is it was trying to do so much in such little time, and it was also trying to cash in on Ocarina of Time's fame. The biggest problem that I've had with Majora's Mask, besides the timeline thing, where you have 3 days to finish it before things, if you didn't get it in time or you had to back up and you didn't finish a dungeon, you had to start all over again.
Not
Not
true.
only that,
Not true, because if you opened a chest, you would still have that item. It wouldn't go back.
that's one
It
thing.
also, yes, you may have to redo it, but you already know it. You have 54 minutes in each 3 days, which
Keep
is
in
well
mind-
enough time to do a dungeon. As well, Ocarina of Time did not have as much able to do, like, mechanic-wise. Because of the expansion pack, there was a lot more that Majora's Mask could do. It pretty much refined and embellished what Ocarina of Time could have done. Yes, Ocarina of Time was revolutionary, but it wasn't the best game that could be out.
Charlie, you have something to say. Speak up.
All right. Limitations. It worked very well within those limitations. It gave you things to do. You had things to do, like the Skulltulas. You had little random things you could find on the map. You had the things like ghost hunting. You had little mini games that were there that could give you time to spend on this game in this universe.
The problem with Majora's Mask as well was the story was all over the place. It had a purpose at the end, and it was only until the
Can I
end.
say something about Link to the Past real quick? Because nothing has been said about it. It was probably the best retro game, but not the best Zelda game for the fact that because it was 2D, it had so much limitations. It didn't have that free feeling motion. You
But
had
most-
to go up, down, left, right, and there wasn't much interaction.
But
with
most
everything.
games would gamers would agree that Link to the Past was one of the well-renowned stories of A Legend of Zelda because of what went on. The problem with Ocarina of Time.
Okay.
No.
All right, guys.
Why you try with the buzzer?
I'm
man?
just messing. All right, I've heard what I need to hear. All right, you know what, guys? Cody gave a fantastic reason on why Majora's Mask worked really well, not only as a Zelda game, but why it was also really great. And although you guys had some interesting things to put in the face of that, you certainly said why those things wouldn't have worked in your Zelda games. None of you really said why that was bad for Majora's Mask, because Majora's Mask, as Cody said, was really unique and fun in its own interesting way, and might be the best because, like he said, of all of those unique things. You guys, you told me a lot of merits about your games, but I just didn't quite hear enough about what made them as special, and I really feel like Cody nailed why his game was special, and therefore Cody wins round 3.
That's the only round I wanted to
That
win.
was the one you wanted to win,
I
if I
can
remember.
understand, actually. I was actually really wanting to do Majora's Mask, too.
All right.
I love Skull Kids.
You know, I just want to say, when we get to round 4, it's not always a 3-way tie, okay? There's been a couple times where it's not, alright? but now it is.
Also, gave us
Wasn't there
the
one
2
time
best
where like
characters
Derek had
ever.
like 3-0?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was like,
3
holy
and
shit.
2 eggs, yeah.
I did forget to say it did give us the 2 best characters ever in Zelda, Tingle and Skull Kid.
Yeah. Alright, well, I don't know if I agree with that. But it's
You just
pretty
won.
good.
Don't deflate your tires.
Okay. So here is a really interesting question. Round 4, by the way. There's a lot of Nintendo characters. There's been obviously there's been, 5,000 Super Mario games. There's been, Bowser's Inside Story, Luigi's game, Where's Mario, whatever. But which Nintendo character who hasn't had their own game should get their very own game? The question goes to Scott first. You have exactly a minute and a half starting now.
I would have to say Sheik from Ocarina of Time. Well, we know that she was Zelda. The issue is we want to know the backstory and what happened between the 7 years gap. Like, an adventure and how she got her training, the adventures that she wanted to, what her capabilities truly are, and all of her physical attributes to what she's done as Sheik during this timeline. I think there would be a great mission to, rise a resistance against Ganon, but fail in the end, waiting for the hero of time. It seems like there's so much to Sheik that is clouded in mystery that was never given to us in Ocarina of Time. We just saw her briefly, she did something, and then poof, she was gone. And then at the end, you're like, oh, by the way, I'm Zelda. And you're like, wait, what? You want to know more. Like, the training that she had in Ocarina of Time. It's what was her story and what was her purpose during that 7 years.
Okay, very excellent. Holly, who gets their own game? Go.
Impa. You could go 2 ways. You
Two
could,
Zelda characters.
yep, it's a huge bias, but that's okay. You could go 2 ways. You could go defense of Zelda within the time she was growing up, the time that this threat was happening. You could go defense. You could protect her and teach her things, possibly, implying that the Eye of Truth that was on Sheik's uniform was quite possibly from the Shikaya clan, which Impa was part of. Now, the other thing is, you could also go into the fact that perhaps she was assisting Zelda by information gathering, helping out the townspeople in that really massively destroyed Castle Town. You could go with just that kind of thing and just make it like using those shadow, whatever abilities she gets from being this, the representation of shadow. And just you could go a few different directions, and you could also just in general in any of the games could be really interesting.
Okay. Cody, who gets their own Nintendo game? Go.
Duck Hunt Dog and the Duck Hunt Bird. So, yes, it sounds hilarious, but it's going to be based kind of like a Banjo-Kazooie Sam and Max sort of feel, to where it's like these 2 partners in crime. They're going against those cowboy gangster kind of fellows that you saw in the original Duck Hunt. They've stolen something of theirs, like his little brother or something.
Baby Duck.
Yeah, Baby Duck, and they're after him to get him back. And they go through various old western areas. They get revenge on the hunter that was shooting down the ducks. They are on this adventure to seek out for this baby duck. As of course I am a lover of ducks, as you guys know. But they eventually get to the gangsters and they have this all-out duel with where it's like the old western, and the duel was 3, 2, 1, and they just go through these adventures, kind of like a Banjo-Tooie-esque. I can't really explain it any better than that.
Okay. Duck Hunt 2, The Curse of Christmas Gold.
Just like a 3D-esque
That
type
sounds
of Duck Hunt. That would be really cool.
All right, guys, and just like that, free for all.
I'm not gonna lie, but the Duck Hunt dog and bird thing is it doesn't work. There's no character development with them. They were just in a shooter game, and they showed up in Smash Brothers for Wii U
And that's why they
3DS.
could be brought back and become a character. Become these new, fresh characters with their own storyline. They don't have to base it off anything except from where they're from. As well, your guys' both characters do have stories inside Hyrule Warriors.
That's not technical. I'm not sure if that's entirely canon, though. That is the
Not
main
canon.
thing.
It is canon.
Where in the heck? We're not discussing that. We are discussing our characters here. So basically, with Duck Hunt, it sounds extremely cartoony, which could work in its favor, but are you looking to do another platform?
Real quick, what was argued that what wasn't canon?
Hyrule Warriors.
Why wasn't that canon?
Because it's way too many characters that did not exist at the same time.
But isn't it all through like the time travel stuff?
Yes.
I considered Hyrule Warriors canon.
Yes, it is complete canon. Those 3 characters were all from the
But
same
whether or
time.
not it isn't canon, I get isn't pertinent to this argument, so
No.
it's okay.
So that's what I was saying.
I was just curious.
Okay. So
The issue that I'm looking at in regards to the Duck Hunt was there's not enough explanation on setting, timeline, character
So
development,
it's just
stuff like that.
It's during like the 80s and 90s to where the Old West kind of fab was into the picture down in like Arizona, where I'm from, California. Just those southwestern areas. To where you go to saloons, you could buy a sarsaparilla as the dog, and
Touching.
I mean, just these different little cartoony things. It's kind of like an old western feel of Banjo-Kazooie, except Nintendo's own platform, because Rare no longer does their stuff with Nintendo because it was bought out by Microsoft. It could be...
Why did she hire play Tommy?
okay. Now with Zelda with Sheik. Okay. It's developing a character that was only in one game. She was in It's a Disguise, and we could
That's the only
reasonably
reason she
base.
was trained, is so in case if something happens, she can go into disguise, and if she's caught in that disguise, what to do. That's why she was in training, and it
The
is
problem is,
explained
though,
in
and that is the purpose of what I was asking for an own game is what happens in the 7-year gap. That was the reason why I chose.
All
the
it was
character.
her training as a kid.
Okay. Here's where I'm at. As much as I would love to see anything that resembles a Banjo-Kazooie game, because this year we certainly got, Ukulele, which was fantastic in my opinion. But anything like that is great. But I think the once again the person that sold me on why this person deserved to have, not only why they deserve to have their own spin-off game, but also the one that gave me the most detailed plot of the game was Scott. Scott wins. 2 points for Scott. I also on a personal would love to see that 7-year gap that we never got to see in Ocarina of Time.
Frankly, you threw
It's
both
Ocarina of
both
Time.
their point of views to be fantastic.
Best Zelda game.
Female leads are in style right now, and it's dope.
It's hella dope.
I also am finding that Gary and I are on the same page for most things.
Love you, buddy.
All right. So starting with Holly this time, round 5, by the way, round 5. All right. Question number 5: which old Nintendo game needs a comeback? Holly, the question goes to you first. You have a minute and a half. Go.
Pokemon Snap, please. You have features in most of the more recent games that emulate it, but you do not get the satisfaction of taking pictures of all these Pokemon that you've had, for example, with the Pokemon box, sitting in there, gathering dust that you could possibly use to go run around the set area, perhaps, or an area that expands as you get more Pokemon in there, that you can take pictures of. You can run around, possibly as an open world type thing, and just go see your own Pokemon. See your shiny Ditto that you worked your butt off to get. That kind of thing. And then it's been 18 years since the game came out. It was May 21st, 1999. It's been rumored for so long that we we really want it. I really want it, personally. I think that's enough.
Alright, I think we actually brought it up in the Pokemon episode that we would like to see a VR Pokemon Snap.
I think
That
the
would be
consensus is Snap needs to come back.
Yeah. Alright, Cody. Game, comeback. What? Go.
Star Tropics from the NES. You're a boy named Mike, and you have this like magical yo-yo that you go around beating off these like alien Earth creatures. You meet Dr. Jones, and you're pretty much on this quest to. It's pretty much an action adventure game. You're just. I always had a blast with it. You just went around in these dungeons trying to find your father. Was it? I believe it was your father.
I don't. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time for me too, but I just remember loving it, just exploring and killing all those things. Even though it was an 8-bit game, it was incredible for its time. You gained levels, you got the items. It was kind of like that action adventure, not turn-based, but real-time type of RPG kind of feel. Kind of reminded me of what Earthbound would be mixed with Zelda. Like a lot of people said, it was a nice spin-off of Zelda, the original Zelda. I would love to see it come back as like a 3D type of game, to where you're him in like a third-person aspect, kind of like Skyrim. That open world feel, I feel like it would be a great Switch game, to where you're. It just needs justice after what happened with Star Tropics 2, sadly.
Alright. Lastly, Scott DeKalen. You have a minute and a half. Go!
This one, a lot of people may have controversy about, but I would have to say Castlevania 2: Simon's Quest for Nintendo.
Do you don't like Castlevania, do you?
The reason why I say that is it tried something and failed because of the poor translation on what it was doing. A lot of issues that had with the map system could have been easily fixed. A lot of directional purposes could have been remastered and redone a lot better. The story takes place right after Castlevania 1, and it was a non-linear style Castlevania game, the first of its kind that brought in an RPG setting to it. It had a lot of potential, but it fell short on the NES. I think if it was redone completely, taking the same elements of the original Castlevania 2, putting it, upgrading it, making it easily translatable to it, everything's understandable, everything is fluent, everyone's understanding the map system, the level system, everything should work. It would be a masterpiece. It wouldn't be the black sheep that it is now.
In time. That's interesting. Instead of choosing a game that everyone loved to come back, you chose a game that was not good to come back.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm about to rip that.
And with that said, free for all.
First off, Decalen, I wouldn't want that to come back, because first off, you don't even need the story. You just need to enter the passcode to Dracula and you're done.
Why would you need a passcode?
That's the
You want to
game.
understand the
I mean,
actual
that's
game.
pretty much Simon's Quest. I mean, that's how everyone did it.
I didn't. I played it straight through. I don't see what the
I'm
problem
sorry you
is.
played that straight through.
I actually enjoyed it. It was my very first one. To be honest,
Pokemon Snap, it was nostalgia, but that nostalgia feel makes it look a lot better than it was. Yes, it was a fun game, but it was only about... Last time I played it, only took me an hour and a half to get through. It wasn't a very long game, and you couldn't really do anything after beating the game. There wasn't anything
You
to
could
do.
only improve on your skill, which I agree, which means with what I was proposing, integrating it with the Pokemon box somehow, you would be able to use your own Pokemon, which tally up to over
But
600,
just
which
to
would
take
tally up.
pictures of your own Pokemon. I mean,
And
that just makes it
explore-
easier in less time.
And the idea of opening up this area you have and exploring it, you could gather
I mean,
bait. You
why
could
not
do-
bring back a original title of Nintendo that didn't get the justice done to it, instead of bringing back a multi-million-dollar one that already has its
the problem
thing
with
going, along with Castlevania's Konami.
the problem
having it
with
going on.
Star Tropics, and while it was a great RPG, the biggest issue is remaking a game of that magnitude. I think it was perfect the way it was. It doesn't need a remake. Why? Because why would you want to touch on something that has been
But not-
flawlessly done in its time and bring it into a modern age?
But
it's
not-
like taking Final Fantasy VII and turning it into what it is now, where it's going to be broken up. You'll get a portion of it, and then you have to wait a couple years, and then do another portion of it, and a greater It's going to take too long.
We're all stroking our beards over here, so I had to do yours too. That's good for me. That's good for me, though. It's all right. So again, you had a phenomenal last round. Everybody said what they wanted to say. However, I have to say, the person that really was the most passionate about their game and gave all the reasons why it was great then and why it would still be relevant today and good now was Holly. Holly wins by 5.
Rigged.
Congratulations.
Rigged.
Which means, Cody, that unfortunately you don't go to the speed run, but you do get to help, not me, but Garrett decide the winners during the speed round. We have a special surprise for you.
Oh
And
no.
it shouldn't be that big a surprise because he's here every week. But here is Garrett Allen. He's going to be judging the speed round. Good luck, buddy.
Nah,
Swap.
but it's you and Garrett, the dream team.
Oh, yeah, right? Oh, man.
Tag team.
But
Tag team.
Get
your vape.
It was 2 versus 1 the whole time.
No, it wasn't. That's not true at all.
Complaint
I was
department
arguing-
versus complaint department. This is going to be dope.
Here we go, yeah. All right. So,
I'm still going to be taking notes back here.
yeah, good round, everybody. We'll have to figure that out. Holly, you practically made me cry with your Snap or with your Pokemon Snap argument. It was good. It was really, really good. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about some speed round questions. I see Rich took his phone, thus depriving me of the timer. And this is how this is going to work. Though it's been described many a time before. Here is how this is going to go. So it's 90 seconds, right? We're doing
20 seconds with 10-second
20 second, 10-second riddles. Thank you. Okay. So how this works is most of these questions, with one exception, are this or that sort of thing. I'm going to ask the question. I'm going to say blah, 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 blah. Bing. The first person to answer will lock in that answer, and we'll make their argument first.
Okay.
The second person will have to choose the other answer or another answer during the if it's an open-ended question, of which there is only one. Basically, your chance to lock in an answer doesn't happen until I ring the bell. You have 20 seconds to make a quick case to me.
Okay.
The other person will have 20 seconds. We'll come back for a rebuttal, 10 seconds a pop, and then I will make my decision. I think that is about it.
That's it.
Okay.
Let's get started.
Cool. So the first one is Dark Horse Comics signs a illustrious comic deal with Nintendo. It is covering one of 2 franchises. Which is the better idea? Sonic or Mario?
Mario.
Okay.
I gotta be quick. Also, what's the score? We got what? 3 for. We got 2
It's
for.
2-2.
2-2. All right, bitchin'. So you guys have to get to 5 points. So Scott, you have 20 seconds to argue for Mario. Go.
Mario has been a well-versed history. It has so many games and backgrounds, reaching various different characters, very different worlds. And every time that Sonic and Mario have meeting up, that Mario has always been succeeds.
Fair enough. Now, we go over to Holly. 20 seconds on why Sonic. Go.
Okay, it's been done. Yes, it was done successfully. It made money. It earned made comics, and let's see. In the fact that there are multiple universes you can choose from, and there's numerous characters you can focus on. And I think, oh god. Okay, I was talking too fast.
You were talking way too fast. Dude, the speed round gets real.
Yeah.
It gets so real. It gets so real. You gotta pick like one argument, and you just gotta be like, this is why my idea is good. You cannot focus on a lot.
Okay.
So that being said, your time is done actually. So, let Scott. You got 10 more
I
seconds.
didn't even hear what she said.
I know it was a little disorganized.
I was like,
it was a
wait,
little disorganized,
what?
though. I think I get what
I
you're
heard
getting at.
multiverse, Marvel.
Okay.
Not
Start
Mario.
thinking about your 10 seconds. Here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
The problem with Sonic is he needs these rings to actually do anything, or these Chaos Emeralds to do anything, and Mario just can do everything by himself.
Sonic's already fast. He can.
Well, we're not turned yet. Hey, Holly.
Yeah.
10 seconds. Go.
All right. He's already fast. He can do things on his own. He picks up a ring. It's just the health bar, which Mario has too. And basically, can he pick up his health bar?
No, it's a time. We got a little off topic as to why it would be a good comic.
Yeah, we did.
But that being said, that was Scott. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. Nicely done. Yeah. The speed round changes the game a whole lot because people like me who are preparers Like
Yeah.
sit down and
Yo.
prepare their answers and think about them. All of a
Yeah.
sudden get their trousers in a bunch. When all of a sudden I'm like,
think that's-
what's going on? Let's go!
Yeah.
So, point to Scott. Very, very good.
You didn't even need our help with that one.
No, I think. Do we agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cody?
I didn't really understand any of
Yeah,
that.
I spoke way too
It
fast.
was like way too fast over here, and that was like a half idea. So I mean, guess
20
Scott.
seconds.
Yeah.
20 seconds
guess-
is good for a half idea.
All right, next question.
Next question. Here we go. All right. Nintendo decides to branch out. It's going to make itself a new game in a kind of previously untrodden genre. What is it going to do? A digital trading card game, a la Hearthstone, or an MMORPG?
Digital game.
MMO. There we go. All right. So, Scott, 20 seconds. The trading card game argument. Go!
Well, with trading card games, you can do a lot of things with Hearthstone. Like similar to Hearthstone, you've got aspects of characters, monsters, spells, abilities, and you can do everything from that. Similar to how Hearthstone was, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. You have a whole bunch of card games that you can actually take to the online.
Stop! Well done. Holly, why is it that we would be interested in seeing a Nintendo MMORPG? Go!
First of all, you could come up with an overarching story, as they've done in Super Smash Bros. Already, that comprises it all. You can explore these different universes with these characters and these powers that could be incongruous yet totally work in this in that setting. Any number of plots can take place. You can gather things.
Stop!
Anything.
Yikes!
You even scared me, and I was ready for that.
I'm a very sharp individual, I apologize. Okay,
I
actually,
live with him. I'm used to
now
it.
we're getting into this. This is two pretty equal arguments at this point, so I'm going to be very interested to hear about this rebuttal round. 10 seconds to Scott to defend why we need to see a trading card game over an MMO. Go.
Didn't we already see a mass multiplayer game that's Mario? I would have to say that would probably be Smash Brothers with an online feature. However, the card game is great.
Stop! Okay, good. Nicely done. Holly, 10 seconds to why we need to see an MMO over a trading card game.
Okay, as you said, they've been done. They've got so many things that they'd be robbing from. It'd be like, what are you doing? As for the MMO, you could still, that was a fighting game. You could take aspects from it. Darn it, it wasn't fast enough there.
Generally speaking, if you start addressing your opponent's argument in the 10 seconds, you're going to use about 7 seconds to do that.
Yep.
You're not going to have any time for your own. 10 seconds. 10 seconds, folks. All right, so that being said, let's go. I think I know who made a more compelling argument.
I think Holly did.
You think Holly? You?
I was also leaning towards Holly. I think that she was good on her points,
Yeah.
especially her first 20 seconds.
Fell a little flat in the rebuttal, Holly, but your
Yeah.
primary argument was actually incredibly strong. The idea that like Smash Brothers set up this universe that could explore all worlds, like the template for that exists, and you could just crush it with a multiplayer game. That's pretty good. Scott, I didn't hear mention from you that like already a Pokemon trading card game exists, and like a piggyback off that could be like a really, really successful EP. I was kind of looking for that. But so that being said, next round we're gonna give it to Holly. Hall balls, 2 points for Hall balls. Well, 3 points for Hall balls, 3 points for
It's
Scott.
3-3.
3-3. Well done. Well done. Do we want to stop for a second?
I'll just cut this part out.
That's perfect timing.
Yeah.
Does she have the key?
Yes, she does. She has my keys because she used the car.
The 10 seconds.
Hi,
is
Jackie. Quickly get to the
nerve-wracking.
kitchen. Quickly get to the kitchen.
I'm trying.
You can do it.
Hey, Jackie, come in.
And then ring the bell. Speedrun question 3. What she's over.
Okay.
I'm salty right now.
And
Sure.
go.
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell.
Speed round question 3! There we go. Alright. So, this next question we're going to address the future of the Zelda franchise in a very hypothetical way. We've seen Zelda explore multiple timelines, and we know that the history of the game can span all manner of coverages. So let's assume that the next game is going to take a venture into either the far, far future of Hyrule or the distant, distant past. I need to know from you, what should the next, or what should the next Zelda game in the franchise cover? The distant future or the far past?
Distant future.
Darn it, far past, I guess.
I don't think you had any.
I need you to find one that you're just like, Way
I
confident
know.
on. Okay, very good. So, Decayland, I need to hear about why Zelda needs to make a venture into the far future of Hyrule. 20 seconds, go.
The final act of the Legend of Zelda series, the fall of the Triforces. All three Triforces have lost their muster. They're basically on their last legs, and that's the end of it. The end storyline.
Well, shoot. Dropping a bomb in 17 seconds. Like, 17 seconds to say, last game, kill the franchise. It'll be dope. That being said, it's not that I'm not on board. All right, Holly, I need 20 seconds to say, why should Zelda take a foray into the distant past of its history? Go.
The formation of the gods. The whole entire formation of these people suddenly becoming these embodiments. What god would come up with that? Why all these species, where did they come from? What did they evolve from? The science. I'd love to learn any of that. That sounds fascinating.
Wow, you were 20 seconds on the nose. You're getting good at this. All right. 10-second rebuttal, Decayland. Why is the future better to the past?
Well, the future would have a lot of ideas on what happened and why the power of the Triforce has been used up after so many years.
Okay. Compelling. Holly, 10 seconds. Why is the past better than the future?
These vague introductions that have been given in each game. Why? Why just these three goddesses? Were there more? Were there less? What's even happening in that weird past?
Time. Good. I need some help with this one. I think I have a soft idea of who I want to pick, but I want to hear some consensus.
I like Holly's better than Scott's for the reason of you got to keep an open ending with games. Kind of like for Zelda, you can't just make the ending and have, because nobody else, if they make a game in between a timeline, they won't, because there's already an ending. With Holly's argument, it's the beginning. It's the reason of how the Triforce was created. You're playing a game telling the story on how the Triforce is being created. That's what I got from it.
Kind of the idea of the Cimmerillion.
Yeah.
Kind of Lord of the Rings.
The beginning of it all, like just the whole backstory, kind of like what they're doing with Star Wars right now, with the Star Wars backstories. That would be a backstory to Zelda. I honestly gotta give it to her for the sake of
an excellent
getting better
point.
than the end.
I think they both executed their opinions on the matter excellently. I did feel like I heard a more compelling argument from Holly.
You know what? I think I agree. Though that being said, I'm almost more curious about Scott's game. Like, there's this morbid curiosity in me. I do think Holly gave a better argument.
It's just that any other Zelda game that would come
It's
up
just
after
such a
that would
bomb.
be-
Castlevania has done it with Dinosaur and Aria.
Hey guys, Scott's talking about Castlevania.
Anyway, shocker!
Alright.
I'm gonna give that point to Holly. We're moving on. Good job. 4-3, Holly's lead. All right. Now there's one that you can't. There's an option you can't give to this one. The following question, the answer cannot be anything in the Zelda universe. So take note.
Okay.
And the question is: Nintendo signs a deal for a non-video game, a tabletop game, presented in the same way of Pathfinder, of D&D, etc. It is going to sit in one of their video game uses. Again, you cannot pick Zelda. Any other answer applies.
Metroid.
Ooh, Holly beat you to it, man.
Yeah!
So
Good choice.
you have a chance. You have a chance to rebuttal here. You still have to pick an answer.
I'm gonna have to go with Adventure Island.
Oh, I hadn't even considered that. All right, this will be interesting then. Holly, 20 seconds to you in just a moment. Metroid as a tabletop RPG.
Your stats are your armor, your weapons, and your shields. I think that's under the same thing. But basically, you have choices of different races. You have the Chozo, you have Samus, you've got other races that are in the series that you can choose from for character creation. You have different planets.
Time. Thank you. Scott, 20 seconds. Adventure Island. Proceed, my friend.
A prehistoric world where you have allies and friends helping you determine and show a world where modern technology as well as prehistoric technology match together in a perfect unison, and dealing with going on a grand
Time. Thank you. Holly, 10
Staring.
seconds. Why is Metroid gonna be better than some prehistoric crap? All right, go.
Variety of aliens. You can homebrew anything you want. It gives you the options. You've got this different technology that you can use throughout the game to upgrade.
Time. Upgradability. Scott, why is some prehistoric bullshit gonna be better than Metroid?
Well, think of it as a final. Think of it as a adventure setting going on almost like a Dungeons and Dragons aspect throughout the world.
Solid. Okay. That is our rebuttal then. Again, 2 strong arguments. I'm going to have to defer to my folks here. I'm going to ask Rich first this time.
You know, this is a really tough one, but I think that Scott kind of came out, because I know you wanted Metroid, but I think that with what he had, he came out really strong with his. I think just by a fraction, I'm going to have to say Scott for me.
Okay. Cody.
I'm a Metroid fanboy, you know this.
Yeah,
I'm
I know,
a Metroid
but
fuckboy.
Based on the arguments,
Based on the arguments,
I
Greg.
just, well, I know that, but I love the fact as a Metroid fan myself. I don't know much about Adventure Island, but the interest of having Metroid, the fact that the upgrade abilities during her rebuttal really sold me on it. Just the fact of being able to upgrade her, the idea of upgrading her suit
Your character's suit, yep.
as you're playing like this tabletop game.
I feel like you're formulating an argument for it. No, I'm kidding.
All right. It's
Noted.
truly up to you, Gary.
It is truly up to me, and I unfortunately am going to have to go with Scott. Well, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm unfortunately
Sorry,
going to have to go with Scott. No, that was good. If only because of the fact I, from an argumentative standpoint, was very fascinated to see how you you really wanted to argue Metroid, and you popped Adventure Island out and laid it out for me. That was very admirable. So that earns big brownie points in my book, and that is all well and good. So we return to 4-on-4.
For the win.
For the win, we have a single last question, and oh man, now I need to pick which one of my questions that it's going to come down to. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go with the question I saved as backup, and it's kind of a hot mess question, so I apologize. The next major Mario World game comes out. We're talking about Post-Odyssey. And against Nintendo's usual regiment of very talented and very capable composers, they go with a cinematic composer for the soundtrack here. The next major Mario World soundtrack will be composed by Hans Zimmer or John Williams.
John Williams.
No, wait!
That means Scott gets to go first
Yeah,
because
he
she
does.
spoke before the bell.
You choose.
John Williams.
That's fine. I'm not even mad. They're both really good.
Okay, so, for the point, why John Williams?
John Williams has created an immense amount of music from hit games like, or not games, but movies like Lord of the Rings. Crap.
Lord of the Rings was Howard Shore.
Star Wars. Well, Star Wars was good. They did a lot of.
Time out!
Sorry.
That's
This is a choke.
That was a choke.
Oh, no.
I will openly
This
admit
is
that
this
was a
is-
choke.
This is music fights, not
Yeah, right? Welcome to Music Fights.
with most Garrett out.
With apologies to Howard Shore, who actually did compose
Yeah,
Lord
but
of the Rings.
you're so sorry. Howard Shore did actually do an excellent job composing
And
Lord of the
Leonard
Rings.
Rosenman.
Yes, again. Now, that being said, we go to Holly, who is going to tell us why Hans Zimmer needs to be the composer for the next big Mario World game.
Inception. You get this atmospheric, tense atmosphere. If we're doing something beyond Post-Odyssey, what are they going to do? It's going to be something weird. It's going to be something bizarre. It's going to be something like layers of weird, dissonant sounds, possibly. It could be like a ticking talk with like...
Time. Good job. Excellent work. Okay, so we've got a thematic one, and we got 10 seconds to see if Scott can pull this out. All right? 10 seconds, Scott. Why is specifically John Williams going to be better than Hans Zimmer? Go!
We're going for epic proportion level music, not scary, inspirational type scenarios where it's like dark.
Time. Okay. That's a fair argument.
Yep.
That's a pretty fair argument. I think that's exactly what needed to be said. We go to 10 seconds to Holly. Why Hans Zimmer?
He can experiment, he can verge out, he can do some things that he knows his music. He knows how to set up themes to reflect thought and
Time.
pace.
I'm already disappointed that you didn't bring up that he also composed The Lion King and Gladiator.
I know, and I know.
I know, right? You gotta. Although
Right,
apparently identifying who composes what in this case was a little bit of an issue.
These are video games.
Yeah, right.
What is this?
So here's the question, Rich. Who'd you think? Or do we tie it and we go to another?
I thought that Holly's first 20 seconds was fantastic. Scott's was a little bit of a mess.
Yeah.
It really hurt you. For the comebacks, though, they were both good.
I think.
I think by default, I'm gonna have to go Holly on this one.
Yeah, right. I mean, Scott just didn't have an argument in the first round, so that's tough.
I honestly thought his comeback actually did make a difference.
His comeback was pretty much every single thing that it could have been, though.
I mean, his comeback made up for those 20 seconds, and I'm gonna have to give it to Scott for that because his example of.
Now I have to choose.
I love you, Scott, but
I know.
Holly.
Believe me, I understand.
Like
I went.
the point of him saying
Jurassic
it's
Park.
more light.
I know,
He's
I
exactly
know.
like even though the dark side
Come
went
on.
out, he makes it more light. Hans Zimmer doesn't have that style, and
That's
she
true.
never showed
I
that.
think you're.
to
I
us.
think you're maybe projecting a little bit.
maybe not the last 10 years of Hans Zimmer, but he did some great stuff in the
yeah.
90s, man.
Hans Zimmer's so
It's all on you, man.
He's so versatile, and John Williams is just a god among men. So that's good. Well, sorry for picking such a difficult question for the last one, but I think our winner tonight is Holly.
Round table shoutouts.
Okay, well, despite the fact that this is Rich's show, I'm going to promote mine. Come to the complaint department
And
on
Pizza
Twitch.
Planet.
And Pizza Planet. Come to Pizza Planet. Not on Twitch. In the fictitious Toy Story universe. I'm Garrett Allen. You guys should know me at this point. Also on the complaint department.
I'm DeKalen, also in the complaint department, with my lovely fiance.
Holly, and this is Squeals.
I'm.
This is Wells!
I am no way in their relationship.
Cody, where do you want us to go? This is an opportunity to link anything.
So definitely follow these guys; they're great. But as well, damn it, I fucking blanked.
Oh, not the blank! Not the blank!
Yeah, just keep on memeing out there. I guess you'll see me on the Discord, and I'm salty as hell right now.
Don't let your
Yeah,
memes
right.
be dreams.
Don't let your memes be dreams.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time, YouTube.
Rich Alvarez Games!
Also, to Squiggles' point, please join us on the Discord.
Twitch.tv/Rich Alvarez Games!
There's too much neat stuff.
Oh
going
yeah,
on right
also
now.
check out Rich Alvarez.
Also,
as well.
check out twitch.tv/Rich Alvarez Games.
Yeah, right. I guess I should promote Rich's stuff too. Yeah, Rich Alvarez Games is the most alive it has ever been.
Check out this. Check out
Yeah, right.
this.
It's the most alive it's ever been in its history, so you do need to go check that
Okay,
out.
goodbye. Have a
I'll
wonderful
promote this.
time.
Okay, Rich is telling me to cut the camera, so why don't you guys have an excellent night, and we'll see you next time.